The anime begins with our main character, Bel Crenel, fleeing for his life from a Minator. He was backed into a corner and saved by a pretty powerful adventurer, and he fell for her from the first glance. So when he returned to the guild, he asked about her from the guild's woman Anna. She informed him that about that girl, her name is Ice Wallenstein from the Loki familia. Gods descended to Earth in the past and created their own familia. However, the price for descending to Earth was that each god had to seal away their divine powers in order to stay between humans. Familia is similar to God's family in that they bless their children to fight monsters in the dungeon. And Ice is from a different family than Bel, so going after her was pointless because she is a level 5 adventurer and also known as one of the strongest in the Loki family by earning the title of the Sword Princess. But instead of giving up, Bel determined to become stronger so that he could one day stand on equal with Ice. Bel belonged to the Hestia familia. In the past, after his lone parent, his grandfather, died, he wanted to be an adventurer, but every familia he went to kicked him out because he was weak. Bel was a level 1 adventurer with few special skills when Hestia found him and took him in. But after falling in love with Ace, he developed a skill that allows him to grow his power much faster and stronger as long as he keeps the strong feelings inside his heart alive, and it also accelerates his growth depending on how strong his feeling. But Hestia chose to keep this information from Bel because she adores him as well. Anyway, the next day, Bel got an early start, and on his way, a girl named Seer gave him a magical stone that Bel had dropped. Bel was hungry, so she gave her portion of lunch to her, but only if Bel comes to her tavern for dinner tonight. Bel finished his today's quest and returned to the tavern for dinner, but the Loki family arrived at the same time to celebrate their latest success. But one of their members, Bete, changed the subject to a weak boy who was fleeing from a minotaur for his life, and while Ace saved him, he ran away like a cat. Bete said too many mean things about Bel, and after hearing this, he left and went to the dungeon because he was so frustrated with how weak he was. So he returned home the next day fully injured. Hestia was surprised by his rapid growth because of his skill, which allows him to grow on his feeling, which is known as Raola's phase. Due to this skill, if it is known to others, other gods out there may want to steal Bel. Well then Hestia was off to attend the gods' gathering, that every god had to attend, and there she met Freya, the goddess of beauty, as well as Loki and Hephaestus. Hestia kept begging her to make a weapon for Bel, because Hephaestus is known as the goddess of smith, who creates divine weapons, and seeing his determination to be stronger as he returned all injured, Hestia desired a weapon for Bel on which he could rely. Hephaestus agreed to make one for her, seeing how much she cared about Bel and how she was her only familia member. She created the knife that is the only one of its kind in the entire world because the knife is alive in itself, and the moment Bel wields it, the knife will be awakened. So Hestia left right away to give it to Bel, but it was the day of the event that Ganesh familia had planned. So Seer took the day off to enjoy the event but forgot to bring money, so Ryu and Anya asked Bel to find Seer and give her the money. The scene switched to Loki, who was meeting with Freya. Freya got information on a boy she wanted to get her hands on, and as she was telling Loki about it, she abruptly left. She then broke into the arena basement and freed the monster by giving it a target, while Hestia met with Bel and took him out on a date, excited about the gift she was going to give to Bel. But then the monster Freya unleashed was targeted on Hestia, and Bel did everything he could to save her from that ape. There was more than one monster loose, so Ganesh sought assistance in killing from other familia and guilds. Meanwhile, Hestia gave the knife to Bel while she updated Bel's status and merged the knife with him. And with the knife as powerful as that, Bel dominated the fight and defeated the ape. Defeating the ape benefited Bel because he grew much stronger as a result of the fight, and he wanted to descend to the 7th floor of the dungeon. But what Bel lacks is proper gear for himself. So, on a day off, Anna took Bel to the Hephaestus weapon shop, where he found Hesitate, who was working on the shop. So the weapon Bel Hephaestus gave Hestia wasn't free. It cost her millions, and because Hestia didn't have any money, she had to work on her shop to gradually pay off her weapons debt. Anna and Bel went to the lower floor of the shop to avoid disturbing her work and found a perfect gear for Bel. Then on next day a supporter wanted to pair up with Bel as he was on his way to the dungeon. Her name is Liliuka Asinthrobe. An adventurer hires supporters to collect loot so that the adventurer can focus on killing monsters. So Bel gave it a shot and he hired her. But when he returned to the guild to cash in his loot, he noticed his knife was missing. Scene shift to Ryu crossing paths with Lily in the dark alley. She noticed Lily was hiding a knife, and only one knife had markings like that, and it was a Bel knife. Lily attempted to flee but ran into Bel again, so Ryu returned his knife. Bel assumed he dropped the weapon, so Ryu and Seer did not inform him that Lily had stolen it from him. After that, Bel began hiring Lily as a supporter on a daily basis, and, as Freya grew impatient, she prepared a grimoire as a gift for Bel. Aside from that, Lily was abused and bullied by adventurers from a young age, and she eventually joined the Soma familia. However, some of her companions began pressuring her to steal from other adventurers in order to gain more money from Lily. For some reason, members of the Soma familia were earning a lot of money, which made Anna suspicious. So, while Bell was casually chatting with Seer in the tavern, his eyes landed on a book of magic spells that one of the customers had left behind. So Seer gave it to Bell to read, and as he got home and began reading, the words from the book began to fade, and Bell later fell asleep. And as a daily check on Bell's stats, he unexpectedly received a magic skill called Firebolt. Excited, Bell went to the dungeon at night to test out his magic. However, overuse rendered him unconscious. Fortunately, Ice and Riveria were also leaving the lower floor when they noticed Bell unconscious, so Ice stayed behind to keep an eye out for him. But he was still quite nervous to face his crush Ice. So Bell told Hestia about the book he got, and as she inspected it, she revealed that the book he just read was a grimoire that cost just as much as a top-tier weapon of Hephaestus, such as his knife. So Bell returned it to Mia, but the damage had already been done and no one could undo it, so Mia told Bell to let the matter go. So, on another day, Bell was looking for Lily when he ran into this guy again. Bell first encountered Lily while she was fleeing this guy, but Lily was certain that Bell was planning something after seeing both of them together. And Lilaruka's pairing with Bell worried Anna, so she asked Ice to keep an eye out for Bell in the dungeon in case he gets into trouble. And she was correct. While the situation was tense, Lily fled with Bell's knife, but the earlier mentioned man reappeared. And, even more so, with the people who were constantly bullying Lee, they took everything from her and left her to die. But Bell didn't abandon her and arrived to save her despite what she had done. Bell had been warned by Anna and Hestia that Lily was a scammer, but he didn't care and still wanted to save her because he didn't want to abandon her like others. Bell was able to escape the orc horde thanks to Ice, but she discovered that Bell had dropped one of his gear. So, on another day, Bell introduced Lily to Hestia, and it appears that she accepted her as well. So then, she got the guild to return the gear he had just dropped. Ice was impressed to see Bell's rapid progress. In just a month, Bell had worked extremely hard to improve his strength to get from floor 5th to floor 10th. But what was shocking was that no one had ever taught Bell to fight, so Ice took this opportunity to teach Bell in real combat herself. Her lessons were difficult to bear, but Bell was improving in his combat skill as a result. But Freya wanted Bell to improve much faster. She had one of her familia members Ottrel train one of the Minotaur in the dungeon to help Bell overcome his fear. As she stated, Ottrel did as he was told, and Minotaur became such a force that even magic was ineffective against his tough body. So, what's going to happen next? If you're curious, subscribe to the channel and get latest updates on new